Cathie Wood just predicted a $2.4 million Bitcoin price. What would MicroStrategy be worth if Cathie Wood's right and Bitcoin does hit $2.4 million within the next 4 years? Well, today we're going to be running the numbers because I have an Excel spreadsheet for you guys that we're going to be having a look at. We're going to be crunching the numbers, and we're also going to be taking a look at the other public companies who are aggressively accumulating Bitcoin today to see whether they can copy MicroStrategy. Because I mean, when we run the numbers, we'll see a lot of other public companies are probably going to want to do the same. So let's have a look here. We know today MicroStrategy's market cap is $98.3 billion. Pretty crazy. They, right now, hold $52 billion of capital on their balance sheet, and they're sitting on 553,000 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's got all the maths here, dating every single one of his purchases. But let's have a look here. So if they hold $52 billion of Bitcoin, and their market cap is $98 billion, this means right now, MicroStrategy has something like a 2x multiple on top of its assets that it's hold. This is how it's valued in the public markets. So now let's jump on over here and just, again, pop on our tinfoil hats here and let's get a little bit bullish. Let's say, all right, if Bitcoin does actually hit $1 million per coin, what's going to happen? Well, I'm glad you asked. If Bitcoin hits $1 million, let's assume MicroStrategy holds the same amount of Bitcoin, 553,000 Bitcoin. So if we get a 10x in the price of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy's Bitcoin is going to be worth $500 billion. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's be conservative again, all right? Let's be conservative. Let's not get too crazy here. Let's just assume that MicroStrategy has the same 2x multiplier on top of its net asset values, considering its net assets would be valued at $500 billion with a 2x multiple, MicroStrategy would have $1 trillion market cap. That's with Bitcoin just at $1 million per coin. This would put it in the top 10 largest companies in the entire world. We can see here, Apple's got a $3.5 trillion market cap, Nvidia's got a 3.1, Microsoft's got a 3.1, Alphabet 2.1, Amazon 1.8. MicroStrategy would be a top 10 company in the entire world. But let's jump back on over here. I just like to use the 1 million number because it's a little bit easier for people to conceptualize. It's easy for people to conceptualize Bitcoin 10xing, going from 100K to $1 million. But now let's get a little bit funky. Now let's imagine Bitcoin does a 24x and Cathie Wood is correct. Okay, again, the big news is that Cathie Wood has increased her Bitcoin price prediction to $2.4 million. That's her new bull case by 2030. I know, it's crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's bullish. It's very bullish. But let's assume that's correct. Where does Bitcoin go? Where's MicroStrategy go? So if MicroStrategy doesn't accumulate any Bitcoin over the next 5 years, it's 553,000 Bitcoin that it holds on its balance sheet today. That's right, 553,000 Bitcoin on its balance sheet today. That would be worth $1.25 trillion. Now again, let's just assume the same conservative 2x multiplier that we're seeing today on MicroStrategy's Bitcoin stack. MicroStrategy would be worth $2.5 trillion. That would put it as the 4th largest company in the entire world, which is bullish, but it's not nearly as bullish as I want to get with you guys today, because I want to get even more bullish. Because there's this chart that was floating around a little while ago. This is called a MicroStrategy bull cycle power adjusted MNAV multiplier. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a mouthful. I get that. It is a mouthful. Now, this particular metric is it's saying a simple thing. What it's saying is, okay, Bitcoin sees a little bit of a multiplier effect in bull markets. So does MicroStrategy. It takes less capital to really move Bitcoin in a big way in these bull markets. That's not a, I mean, that's not a huge assumption, okay? I mean, we do know that this fluctuates a lot. I'm trying to find you the raw data that I do have, because there's a chart that actually tracks how this changes. So this chart is called the MSTR NAV multiplier versus the Bitcoin price. And this does change. You can see the NAV premium. It's scaled 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The higher those green dots are on that chart, the bigger the NAV premium. We can see that this does fluctuate. It's normal. It happens. So again, the really crazy uber bullish numbers we're going to be showing you here in a minute. It's based upon that number, the MNAV. So let's jump back on over to it. Now, as of Q4 2024, this specific projection believes that if Bitcoin hits $500,000 a coin, MicroStrategy could have an MNAV multiplier of 30x. And that could result in a MicroStrategy stock price of $15,000 per share. Let's have a look at how crazy that would look on a chart. Right now, I've pulled up the MicroStrategy chart. Right now, we're trading at $360 per coin. I mean, what? Wouldn't that just look crazy? This, if anything close to this plays out, this would look like the most craziest chart in all of finance. It would be, if this thing gets to $15,000 a share, that would be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Again, who remembers if there was a stock split that recently happened? Maybe there was. That's kind of making these numbers a little bit wonky. But I think, hey, if Bitcoin does go to 500,000 and 5x's, I think it's pretty clear that MicroStrategy is probably going to do more than that in regards to its potential returns. I mean, MicroStrategy, for example, it's twice as high as the 2021 peak right now. So we do know that MicroStrategy outperforms Bitcoin. This is kind of what it does. So again, where's MicroStrategy going to go? A lot higher. All Night Hider says, show me the data. Show me the data. And Satwise here says that Bitcoin is the 7th largest asset in the entire world, with only Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and gold ahead of it. Wouldn't it be, and again, this isn't a hypothetical because this is going to happen eventually, but eventually MicroStrategy and Bitcoin, like in the very near future, could be number 1 and number 2 on that list. Again, if you are looking for somewhere to buy your Bitcoin, I always encourage you guys to check out what the Bitcoin Well is doing. They are our partner here on the YouTube channel and Brandon's YouTube channel, Green Candle, because they force you guys to self-custody your Bitcoin by default. And we're massive fans of self-custody. We don't believe you own the Bitcoin unless you take self-custody of your Bitcoin, which is why we're such massive fans of what the Bitcoin Well is doing, okay? So whether you're a retail pleb looking for somewhere safe and secure to send your family and friend members, or whether you are a high net worth individual looking to buy Bitcoin over the counter, very tight fees, very tight spreads, low fees, we recommend what the Bitcoin Well is doing. They have a service for anyone who needs to get started on their Bitcoin buying journeys. We highly encourage you to check them out. Once you've bought the Bitcoin at the Bitcoin Well, I also always encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is doing. Yes, it's essential that you put your Bitcoin in a hardware wallet. That's the most important step in Bitcoin. The second most important step that you can take when you self-custody your Bitcoin is writing down your 12 or 24 words. That is your Bitcoin. That's your Bitcoin private keys onto something that's not actually life proof. Okay, I always encourage you guys, don't write down your Bitcoin backup words on paper. It's terrible. Put them on something like this. These are the titanium plates that Stampseed make. As you can hear, that's real metal, baby. Let's show you the chart that Satwise here in the chat is talking about. So this here is looking at the largest assets in the entire world. Again, there's 58,000 public companies. Bitcoin is already bigger than 99.9% of them. So here we have Bitcoin in the pink, number 7. About to jump over. So Bitcoin has a $1.87 trillion market cap. Amazon and Alphabet are both at $1.9 trillion market caps. A 10% pump in Bitcoin. And we take the 5th spot, the 5th biggest company in the entire world. Now again, this is like a $2 trillion battle. Amazon at 1.9, Alphabet at 1.9, Bitcoin at 1.87. Again, we're talking about MicroStrategy today. MicroStrategy would enter the chat, so to say, if Bitcoin hit $2.5 million a coin. If Bitcoin hit $2.5 million a coin, MicroStrategy is at $2.5 trillion of market cap, assuming a very bearish and conservative 2x multiplier. I think that's bullish. I think that's interesting. I think that's something a lot of people are not paying attention to. Again, why are all of these massive banks increasing their Bitcoin price predictions today? Why are they all coming out and getting aggressively more bullish on Bitcoin? That's a question we need to be asking ourselves.